They left me behind. Too old, they said. I watched their taillights disappear into the dark. 4 tickets bought with my pension money. My name on none of them. That night, I opened my passport drawer. Still valid. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. They gathered in my living room that Tuesday morning. Victor, my son. Clara, his wife with her lawyer's smile. Julian, my grandson, fingers dancing on his phone. Sophie, my granddaughter, earbuds already in place. The coffee grew cold while they talked. Santorini, they said. Blue water. White houses. Grilled octopus under the stars. I sat in Robert's old chair. The one that still smelled like his aftershave. 23 years gone, and I could still catch traces of him in the fabric. Victor cleared his throat. The sound he made before delivering bad news. You're too fragile for long flights, Mom. The words hung in the air like smoke. Clara nodded, her thin smile stretching thinner. Better if you stay home. Keep the apartment safe. Water the ferns. The ferns. Always the ferns. I didn't argue. I'd learned not to argue. Learned to smile. To nod. To make myself small and useful. They left in their glossy SUV. Laughter spilling from open windows. Julian's music thumping. Sophie's blonde hair catching the morning light. I stood at the window until the sound faded. The silence pressed against my chest. Heavy. Familiar. That afternoon, the mailman brought 4 plane tickets. 2 adults. 2 children. All paid from my pension account. The account I'd signed over to Victor when Robert died. For family expenses, he'd said. For emergencies. Apparently, their vacation qualified. My name wasn't on any ticket. I held the thick paper between my fingers. Felt the raised letters. The airline logo. The departure times. Not one bore my name. I made tea to stop my hands from shaking. Earl Grey. 2 sugars. The way Robert liked it. The way I still made it, even though no one was left to share. The cup warmed my palms. Steam rose and disappeared. I thought about the years since Robert's funeral. How I'd become the keeper of everyone else's life. The babysitter. The plant waterer. The emergency contact. Always available. Never busy. Never tired. Never allowed to be tired. I thought about my sister Margaret's 70th birthday party. How they'd told me someone needed to stay with the dog. The dog who slept 18 hours a day. I thought about last Christmas. How I'd cooked for 12 people and ate alone in the kitchen while they laughed in the dining room. Always useful. Rarely seen. The tea cooled. I didn't drink it. I walked to the bedroom. To the dresser Robert built with his own hands. Solid oak. Steady as the man himself. In the bottom drawer, beneath old scarves and forgotten jewelry, my passport waited. I pulled it out. Navy blue. Worn at the edges. Marianne Patricia Morrison. Born February 15, 1950. The photo showed a woman I barely recognized. Younger. Hopeful. Married to possibility. Valid until 2027. 3 more years of permission to leave. I flipped through the pages. All blank. 47 years of marriage, 23 years of widowhood, and not one stamp. Not one border crossed. Not one adventure taken. Robert and I had planned to travel. After he retired. After the kids grew up. After we had time. We ran out of time. But I hadn't run out of time. I'd run out of permission from people who no longer asked what I wanted. I sat at the kitchen table. Stared at those tickets. 4 names. None of them mine. I picked up the phone. Dialed the airline. The voice was young. Professional. Could she help me today? Yes, I said. Cancel these reservations. She asked for confirmation numbers. I read them slowly, each digit clear. She paused, asked if I was sure. I'm sure, I said. The line went quiet. Keyboard clicking. Cancelled, she said. Refund will process in 5 business days. I hung up, sat in the silence. Then I opened my laptop. The one Sophie taught me to use last year. Fingers slow on the keys, but steady. I found the airline website. Typed in my destination, Athens, where democracy was born, where old stones held stories of courage. 1 ticket, aisle seat, departing Friday. The cursor blinked at me. Waiting. I thought about the ferns. Who would water them? I thought about the apartment. Who would guard it against imaginary threats? I thought about Victor's face when he discovered the cancelled tickets. I thought about his surprise when he learned I was gone. My finger hovered over the purchase button. Then I pressed it. The confirmation appeared instantly. Marianne Patricia Morrison. Passenger. Not caretaker. Not backup plan. Not forgotten name in someone else's story. Passenger. I called Mrs. Delgado next door. Asked her to water my plants. She wanted to know where I was going. Somewhere, I told her. Somewhere I've never been. The words felt strange in my mouth. Foreign. Like speaking a language I'd forgotten how to use. I packed 1 small suitcase. Sensible shoes. Comfortable clothes. The yellow scarf Robert bought me for our 25th anniversary. The one I'd never worn because it was too bright. Too noticeable. Too much like joy. Friday morning came quiet and gray. I left the apartment key with Mrs. Delgado. Took the train to the airport. At the gate, I watched families say goodbye. Lovers embracing. Children crying for their mothers. No one came to see me off. No one even knew I was leaving. The freedom of that hit me like cold air. Sharp. Clean. Necessary. They called my boarding group. I stood. Walked forward. Handed my passport to the gate agent. She smiled. Welcome aboard, Ms. Morrison. Ms. Morrison. Not Victor's mother. Not Clarice Burden. Not the keeper of ferns and empty apartments. Ms. Morrison. I found my seat. Buckled in. Watched the ground fall away through the small window. Somewhere below, my family was discovering my absence. Somewhere above, I was learning to breathe again. The plane touched down in heat. Greek heat. Dry. Ancient. I walked through the airport like I belonged there. Like I'd done this before. A young woman at customs smiled at my passport. Stamped it hard. The ink spread across the blank page. My first mark. My first proof. Outside, the air tasted of olive oil and exhaust. Dust and possibility. The taxi driver spoke broken English. Asked if this was my first time. Yes, I told him. But not my last. He laughed. Drove through streets that twisted like old rope. I pressed my face to the window. Watched balconies heavy with laundry. Children kicking soccer balls between parked cars. Women hanging over railings, calling to neighbors below. Life happening. Loud. Unashamed. The guest house sat tucked between a bakery and a barber shop. 3 stories of white stone. Blue shutters. A sign in Greek I couldn't read. The owner met me at the door. Maria. Gray hair pulled back tight. Hands rough from work. She looked at my suitcase. My sensible shoes. My careful smile. American? She asked. Yes. Alone? Yes. She nodded. Like being alone was normal. Expected. Not something to pity or fix. My room was small. Clean. A single bed with white sheets. A window that opened to the street. I set my suitcase by the wall. Unpacked slowly. 2 dresses. 1 pair of pants. The yellow scarf still folded in tissue paper. I held it up to the light. Bright as summer. Bright as I'd never allowed myself to be. I folded it back in the tissue. Not yet. That evening, I walked the neighborhood. Found a small taverna with plastic chairs and paper tablecloths. The waiter was older than me. Moved slow but sure. He brought me olives without asking. Black ones. Shiny with oil. Salt crystals on the rims. I ate them one by one. Let the brine coat my tongue. The bread came warm. Thick crust. Soft inside. I tore pieces with my hands. No one watched. No one judged my table manners. No one asked why I was eating alone. I ordered lamb, wine, dessert I couldn't pronounce. The lamb fell off the bone. The wine tasted like earth and sun. The dessert was honey and nuts and forgiveness. I ate slowly, tasted everything. Back in my room, I sat by the window. Street noise drifted up. Motorbikes, laughter, music from the bar below. I thought about home, about Victor finding the cancelled tickets. Had he called? Had he worried? My phone stayed silent in my purse. Good. Let him wonder. Let him imagine. Let him feel what I'd felt every time they left without asking. I opened the small notebook I'd bought at the airport. Wrote my first entry. Day 1. I am here. Simple words. True words. The next morning, I woke to church bells. Not the electronic chimes from home. Real bronze. Heavy. Calling the faithful. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. I dressed slowly. Put on lipstick. Coral pink. The shade Robert said made me look alive. Downstairs, Maria served breakfast on the terrace. Coffee thick as mud. Yogurt with honey. Bread still hot from the oven. She asked about my plans. I told her I had none. Good, she said. Plans are overrated. An older woman sat at the next table. Silver hair caught back in a green scarf. Reading a guidebook in French. She looked up. Caught my eye. Smiled. American? She asked in accented English. Yes. I'm Elise. From Lyon. Marianne. From Chicago. She gestured to the empty chair. May I? I nodded. She moved her coffee cup. Her guidebook. Settled in like we'd been meeting for years. First time in Athens? She asked. Yes. You? Third. But I keep finding new things. She opened her guidebook. Pointed to pictures. Museums. Churches. Markets. But not today, she said. Today we walk. We? She shrugged. 2 women. Both alone. Both too old to care what people think. I laughed. Actually laughed. The sound surprised me. After breakfast, we walked. No destination. No schedule. Elise moved like a dancer. Slow but graceful. She stopped at things I would have missed. A cat sleeping in a doorway. Paws tucked neat as a prayer. A window box spilling with geraniums. Red as fresh blood. A man repairing shoes on the sidewalk. Hands sure and quick. She sees everything, I wrote that night. I see only what's broken. But walking with her, I started to see differently. The cracked pavement became a pattern. The graffiti became art. The noise became music. We found a small museum. Ancient pottery behind glass. Bowls and cups and plates. Ordinary things made extraordinary by time. Like us, Elise said quietly. That afternoon, we sat in a park. Watched children play. Their mothers called to them in rapid Greek. Elise asked about my family. Why I was traveling alone. I told her about the tickets, the cancelled plans, the years of being useful but unseen. She listened without advice, without pity. When I finished, she nodded once. And yet, she said, "You are here." Yes, I am here. We bought train tickets that evening. Florence. Two women in their 70s. Planning tomorrow like teenagers. In my room, I pulled out the yellow scarf. Held it to the light again. This time, I didn't fold it back in tissue. I tied it around my neck. Loose. Bright. In the mirror, a different woman looked back. Older than the passport photo. But younger than yesterday. The phone buzzed. A message from Sophie. "Grandma, I hope you're having adventures." I typed back slowly. Finger by finger. I am having adventures. I am having life. Then I turned off the phone. Opened my notebook. Day 3. I am becoming. Outside, Athens hummed its ancient song. Inside, I hummed along. The train cut through Italian countryside like a knife through butter. Green hills, stone houses, olive groves older than memory. Elise sat across from me, reading, occasionally pointing out the window. "Look," she'd say, "a monastery on that hill. Or see how the light hits that vineyard." I was learning to see through her eyes. Learning what mattered wasn't always what was loudest. Florence arrived in golden afternoon light. The Duomo rose like a prayer made stone. Our hotel was small, family-run. The woman at the desk called us signoras. Ladies. Not ma'am. Not dear. Ladies. My room overlooked a narrow street. Laundry hung between buildings. Shirts and sheets dancing in warm air. I unpacked the yellow scarf. Hung it on a hook by the mirror. Tomorrow, I promised. Tomorrow I'll wear it. That evening, we found a restaurant tucked behind the Ponte Vecchio. No tourists. Just locals eating late. The waiter was young, handsome, flirted with both of us equally. Elise laughed, touched his arm when he brought the wine. I watched her. This woman my age acting like she still existed in the world. Acting like the world still wanted her. The pasta came swimming in butter and sage. Simple. Perfect. I ate every bite. Drank 2 glasses of wine. Felt heat spread through my chest. When did I stop drinking wine? When did I decide I was too old for pleasure? Back at the hotel, my phone showed 17 missed calls. Victor, Clara, even Julian. Finally noticing I was gone. I turned off the phone. Opened my notebook. They think I owe them an explanation. I owe myself a life first. The next morning, we stood before Botticelli's Venus. The museum was crowded. Tourists pushed past us. Cameras clicked. But the painting held us still. She wasn't beautiful the way magazines said beautiful. She was beautiful the way truth was beautiful. Honest. Unashamed. Complete. Elise stood beside me, silent for once. I understood then why we'd come. Not for history lessons. For recognition. This woman emerging from the sea. This woman claiming her space. This woman refusing to apologize for existing. I was her. She was me. We ate lunch in a small trattoria. Pasta again. More wine. The owner's mother sat at a corner table. White-haired. Black dress. Counting money. She looked up. Caught my eye. Nodded once. One woman to another. Still here. Still counting. That afternoon, we walked the Altrarno. Narrow streets. Artisan shops. Old men playing cards in doorways. Elise bought leather gloves. Soft as butter. Brown as earth. I bought a notebook. Hand-bound. Thick paper that wanted ink. For writing what? Elise asked. For writing true, I said. We crossed the Arno at sunset. Water running gold beneath stone bridges. Couples walked hand in hand. Families gathered around gelato carts. Life happening. Normal. Beautiful. Without permission from anyone. I thought about Robert. How we'd planned to see this. How we'd waited for the right time. There was no right time. There was only time. That night, I wore the yellow scarf to dinner. Bright around my neck. Visible from across the room. The waiter noticed. Complimented the color. Beautiful, he said. Like sunshine. I touched the silk. Felt its brightness against my skin. Robert was right. It did make me look alive. At dinner, Elise asked about my husband. How long he'd been gone. 23 years, I told her. She nodded, understanding. Her husband had been gone 15. We don't talk about the loneliness, she said. We pretend we're fine. Are we fine? I asked. She considered this. Sipped her wine. We're here, she said finally. That's better than fine. After dinner, we walked through the old city. Street lamps made golden pools on cobblestones. My phone buzzed. A message from Sophie. Grandma, Dad's furious about the tickets. But I told him maybe you had reasons. I showed Elise. She read it twice. Smart girl, she said. Yes. She sees things others miss. Like you're learning to do. Was I learning? Or remembering? Hard to tell the difference. That night, I wrote in the new notebook. My handwriting looked different on the expensive paper. More confident. Florence, Day 2. I stood before Venus and understood beauty isn't about being perfect. It's about being complete. I am learning to be complete. The next morning brought rain. Soft Italian rain that kissed the stones. We took shelter in a small church. San Miniato al Monte. Inside, light filtered through stained glass. Colored the air purple and gold. An old woman knelt in the front pew. Praying or remembering. Maybe both. Elise lit a candle. For her husband, she said. I lit one too. For Robert. For the trips we never took. For the time we thought we had. The flame flickered. Held steady. Burned bright in the quiet dark. We sat in silence. 2 women. 2 widows. 2 survivors learning to live again. The rain stopped. Sun broke through the clouds. Time to go, Elise said. Where? Wherever we want. I thought about that. Wherever we want. When had I last gone somewhere because I wanted to? When had wanting been enough reason? We bought train tickets to our next destination. No plan. No schedule. Just the next city that sounded like possibility. In my room, I packed the yellow scarf on top. Easy to reach. Ready to wear. The phone showed more messages. More missed calls. I scrolled through them. Victor angry. Clara concerned. Julian confused. All of them demanding explanations. Demanding I return to being their solution. I deleted the messages. All of them. Opened my notebook instead. Florence, final day. Venus taught me something. Emergence isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming who you always were, underneath all the roles they gave you. I am emerging. Finally. Completely. Tomorrow, another city. Another chance to be fully myself. Tonight, I sleep in yellow silk. The train to Lisbon took all day. Spanish countryside rolled past like memories. Brown earth. White villages. Lives I'd never know. Elise slept against the window. Her face soft in the afternoon light. I watched her breathe. This woman who'd become my anchor. My proof that friendship could happen at 73. Lisbon greeted us with salt air and steep streets. Hills rising from the Tagus like prayers. Our pensão sat tucked in the Alfama. Narrow building. Blue tiles. A proprietor who spoke 3 languages badly. My room was smaller than a closet. Bed, chair, window that opened to laundry lines and laughter. Perfect. That first night, we climbed to a fado house. Tiny restaurant where sorrow turned to song. The singer was my age. Black dress, silver hair, voice like broken glass that still caught light. She sang in Portuguese. I understood nothing. I understood everything. Loss, love, the weight of carrying on. Elise wept openly. I touched her hand. Found it shaking. Are you all right? I asked. She nodded. Smiled through tears. She's singing my life, Elise said. Mine too. The next morning, Elise didn't come to breakfast. I knocked on her door. No answer. The proprietor let me in. She lay in bed, pale, burning with fever. I touched her forehead, hot as stones in summer. Doctor, I said to the proprietor. He shook his head. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Sunday. No doctor's Sunday. I stayed. Fed her sips of water. Cool cloths on her forehead. Aspirin from my travel kit. She slept fitfully. Spoke in French. Called for someone named Henri. Her husband, I realized. Dead 15 years. Still alive in fever dreams. I sat in the hard chair. Watched her chest rise and fall. When had I last cared for someone by choice? Not duty. Not obligation. Choice. Maybe never. Evening came. She woke lucid. Asked for tea. I made it with the electric kettle. English breakfast from the breakfast tray. We sat in silence. Her hands wrapped around the cup. Mine around my own. Thank you, she said finally. For what? For staying. For choosing to stay. Where else would I be? She smiled. Still weak but present. With your family. Explaining yourself. Apologizing for having wants. I considered this. She was right. 3 weeks ago, I would have been on a plane home. Explaining. Apologizing. Making myself small again. Now I sat in Lisbon. Caring for a friend. Not because anyone asked. Because I chose to. The fever broke the next day. We walked slowly through the Barro Alto. Stopped often. Sat in small cafes. Elise was different now. Quieter. More careful. Fear had touched her. Reminded her how fragile this all was. That afternoon, we found a miradoro. Lookout point over the city. Red roofs spread below us like scattered thoughts. The river caught light and held it. Elise leaned against the stone wall. I could have died, she said quietly. But you didn't. But I could have. Alone in a strange city. No family knowing where. Would that be so terrible? I asked. She looked at me, surprised by the question. Would it? I pressed. To die free instead of living caged? She was quiet for a long time. No, she said finally. No, it wouldn't be terrible. That night, fado again. Different house. Same sorrow. Same beauty. The singer was younger. Maybe 50. She sang with eyes closed. Lost in her own pain. I thought about my phone. Silent in my purse for days now. 43 missed calls. 67 unread messages. Victor demanding I return. Clara threatening to call authorities. Julian asking if I'd lost my mind. Only Sophie writing with understanding. With something like pride. I pulled out my phone. Typed slowly. Victor, I wrote. I love you. But I won't return to being invisible. When you're ready to see me as a person, not a problem, let me know. Send. Then I turned off the phone. Completely off. Elise watched me. Nodded approval. How does it feel? She asked. Like jumping off a cliff, I said. And? and discovering I have wings. We walked back to the pensão through narrow streets, stone worn smooth by centuries of footsteps. Past midnight now, the city settling into quiet. In my tiny room, I wrote in the leather notebook. Lisbon, day 4. Elise was sick. I stayed. Not because I had to. Because I wanted to. This is what caring looks like when it's chosen, not imposed. This is what love looks like when it flows freely, not demanded. I am learning the difference. The next morning brought news. The proprietor's English faltering but clear. Your family, he said. They call here. Many times. What did you tell them? That you are well. That you are happy. That you pay your bills. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud. What else matters? I asked him. Nothing else, he agreed. Nothing else matters. Elise felt stronger. Color returning to her cheeks. Appetite coming back. We planned our next move. Spain, maybe. Or back to France. Anywhere but home. Not yet. That afternoon, a message finally got through. Sophie, somehow finding the pensão's number. Grandma, she said when I answered the ancient phone. Dad's hired someone to find you. A private investigator? Yes. He thinks you've lost your mind. Have I? Silence on the line. Then soft laughter. If you have, she said, I want to lose mine too. I'm not lost, Sophie. I'm found. I know, Grandma. I know. After I hung up, I sat by the window. Watched Portuguese life unfold below. Children playing in the narrow street. Mothers calling from balconies. Old men sharing cigarettes and stories. Life happening. Real life. Messy and loud and beautiful. My phone buzzed. A text from Victor. Mom, if you don't call by tomorrow, I'm coming to get you. I stared at the message. Felt the old fear rise. The old urge to apologize. To explain. To make myself smaller. Then I deleted it. Opened my notebook instead. Lisbon, final day. They want to rescue me from my own life. But I don't need rescuing. I need living. I am living. Finally, completely, without apology. Tomorrow, we leave for Spain. The adventure continues. Tonight, I sleep in my own choices. The bus to Seville smelled of diesel and oranges. Spanish countryside stretched endless. Olive trees in perfect rows. Silver leaves catching light. Elise slept again. Recovery still claiming pieces of her energy. I watched the landscape change. Felt something shifting inside me too. Seville hit us like a slap of heat. Orange trees lined every street. Fruit rotting sweet on cobblestones. The smell of possibility and decay. Our hotel sat near the cathedral. Stone building older than my country. Cool lobby. Tiles that had seen centuries pass. The desk clerk was young. Maybe 25. Called me Senora with real respect. Not ma'am. Not dear. Senora. Lady. That evening, we found a tapas bar. Locals only. No English menus. No tourist smiles. The owner looked us over. 2 old women. Foreign. Out of place. Then he saw Elisa's scarf. Bright green silk she'd bought in Florence. Bonita, he said. Beautiful. He served us olives. Jamon. Cheese that tasted like grass and sunshine. Wine came without asking. Red. Strong. Honest. At the next table, 3 generations shared one meal. Grandmother. Mother. Daughter. The grandmother spoke. The others listened. Her words carried weight. I watched her hands move as she talked. Graceful. Sure. Unashamed to take space. When did I stop taking space? When did my voice become whisper? The wine warmed my chest. loosened something I'd kept tight for decades. That night, we heard flamenco from the street. Not tourist flamenco, real flamenco, raw, desperate, true. We followed the sound to a small club. Basement, brick walls, sweat and smoke. The dancer was older than me. Maybe 80. White hair pulled severe. Black dress worn thin. She moved like fire. Like fury. Like she had nothing left to lose. Her feet struck the floor like hammers. Each step a statement. Each turn a refusal. I am here, her body said. I am still here. The guitar wept. The singer called out in Spanish. Words I didn't know but understood. Pain. Rage. The refusal to disappear quietly. The old woman danced until sweat ran down her face. Until her breath came short. She didn't stop. She danced harder. When it ended, silence held the room. Then applause like thunder. The dancer looked right at me. Nodded once. One woman to another. Still fighting. Still alive. Walking back to the hotel, I felt different. Electric. Dangerous. That morning, I bought a yellow scarf. Not pale yellow. Not safe yellow. Bright yellow. Bold yellow. Yellow that demanded attention. I tied it in my hair. Loose. Wild. Visible from blocks away. Elise stared at me over coffee. You look, she said slowly, magnificent. I felt magnificent. For the first time in decades. Magnificent. We walked through the old Jewish quarter. Narrow streets. White walls. Courtyards glimpsed through iron gates. Every turn brought beauty. Unexpected. Unapologetic. Like age, I realized. If you let it be beautiful instead of shameful. That afternoon, another bus tour stopped near us. American tourists. Gray-haired. Careful. Moving in a tight group. The guide spoke loud English. Pointed at buildings. Recited facts. One woman caught my eye. About my age. Sensible shoes. Beige cardigan. Staying close to her husband. She looked at my yellow scarf. My loose hair. My unashamed visibility. For a moment, her eyes held mine. I saw recognition. Longing. Then her husband called. She looked away. Followed the group. Safe. Contained. Invisible. I touched my scarf. Felt its brightness against my skin. I used to be her. I would never be her again. That evening, we found another flamenco club. Bigger. More polished. But still real. The dancer was younger. Maybe 60. She moved like liquid fire. Like controlled lightning. But when she finished, she looked tired. Empty. Art as performance, not prayer. I preferred the old woman. Dancing past exhaustion. Dancing past safety. Dancing like her life depended on it. Because maybe it did. After the show, we walked through Barrio Santa Cruz. Medieval streets. Shadows and lamplight. Couples kissed against ancient walls. Young people laughed from tavernas. Life happening boldly. We found our own taverna. Crowded. Loud. Alive. The bartender was my age. Gray beard. Kind eyes. He served us wine without judgment. Two old women. Drinking late. Taking up space. The music was loud. Guitars and voices mixing. People sang along. Off-key. Joyful. Elise grabbed my hand. Pulled me to my feet. Dance, she said. Here? Now? Here. Now. Always now. We danced. Badly. Wonderfully. Without caring who watched. My yellow scarf slipped. My hair came loose. I laughed until my sides hurt. When did I last dance? When did I decide I was too old for joy? Around us, people clapped. Cheered. Made space for two old women being foolish. Being alive. Later, walking back through empty streets, Elise asked about my family. Whether I missed them. I miss who I thought they were, I said. I miss who I thought I was with them. But this you? The you are now? This me is just me. No roles. No excuses. No apologies. This me is enough. In my hotel room, I looked in the mirror. Hair wild from dancing. Lipstick smeared. Yellow scarf askew. I looked like a woman who lived. Who chose. Who refused to disappear. I pulled out my phone. Still turned off. Still silent. For a moment, I considered turning it on. Checking messages. Explaining myself. Then I remembered the old woman dancing. Feet striking the floor like promises. I put the phone back in my purse. Opened my notebook instead. Seville, Day 2. I danced tonight. In public. Badly. Beautifully. I am learning that shame is optional. That age doesn't disqualify you from joy. That visibility is a choice. And I choose to be seen. Tomorrow, we leave for Granada. But tonight, I sleep yellow. Bright. Unashamed. I sleep like a woman who dances. The bus climbed into mountains. Andalusian hills rose like ancient thoughts. Brown. Patient. Scarred by centuries. Granada appeared suddenly. Red roofs against white peaks. The Alhambra floating above the city like a dream made stone. Elise pressed her face to the window. Breathed on the glass like a child. Look, she whispered. Just look. I looked. Saw beauty that made my chest tight. Beauty that demanded witness. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Our pension sat in the Albacete. Moorish quarter. Narrow streets climbing toward sky. White houses with iron balconies. Flowers spilling over walls like hope. My room was tiny. Clean. A single bed under a window that framed the Alhambra. I unpacked slowly. Hung the yellow scarf where morning light would find it. That evening, we climbed to Mirador San Nicolas. Sunset viewpoint. Crowds gathered with cameras and expectations. But when the light hit the Alhambra, silence fell. Red stone turned gold. Gold turned fire. Fire turned prayer. I stood perfectly still. Let beauty enter me completely. An old man played guitar nearby. Spanish melody older than memory. Notes floating on warm air. I closed my eyes. Felt music settle in my bones. This, I thought. This is why we come. Not for pictures. For presence. For the moment when beauty breaks you open and puts you back together new. Walking back through cobblestone streets, my phone buzzed. Message somehow reaching me despite being turned off. Sophie, my granddaughter who saw everything. Grandma, her text said. Dad found your hotel in Lisbon. You'd already left. He's tracking your credit cards now. I stared at the words. Felt the old fear rise. The urge to run. To hide. To apologize. Then I remembered the Alhambra turning gold in sunset light. Let him track, I typed back. I'm not hiding anymore. The next morning brought pilgrimage. The Alhambra called. 800 years of Moorish dreams carved in stone and water. Elise and I joined the crowds. Tickets bought weeks in advance. Lines moving slowly uphill. My knees protested. Arthritis singing its familiar song. Each step a negotiation with pain. Keep going? Elise asked. Keep going. We climbed. Slowly. Stopping often. Letting younger tourists pass. But we climbed. The entrance gates opened to paradise. Courtyards within courtyards. Water running in perfect channels. Light playing through carved stone. The Nasra Palace took my breath. Literally, I had to sit. Let my heart slow. Let wonder settle. Geometric patterns covered every surface. Islamic art that spoke without words. Beauty so complex it became simple. So human it became divine. Elise wandered ahead. I stayed sitting, watching light move across 800-year-old walls. A young couple posed for selfies. Smiling, clicking, moving on. They missed it. The patience required for true seeing. The stillness needed for beauty to enter. Age taught you that. How to wait. How to witness. How to let moments matter. In the court of lions, water sang through marble channels. 12 stone lions held up a fountain. Each one different. Each one perfect. I touched the marble. Cool. Smooth. Worn by centuries of hands seeking connection. We stood here, I thought. Muslims, Christians, Jews, all of us reaching for the same thing. Beauty, meaning, something larger than our small lives. The garden spread below like green prayers. Hedges cut precise. Roses blooming wild. Order and chaos dancing together. My knees screamed. My back ached. I didn't care. This was why I left Chicago. This was why I canceled their tickets. This was why I chose myself. For moments like this, when you stand in beauty so complete it changes you forever. Elise found me in the Generalife Gardens. Sitting by a fountain, watching water catch light. How do you feel? She asked. Grateful, I said. Overwhelmed. Changed. Like we climbed a mountain? Like we climbed ourselves. That afternoon, exhaustion claimed us. We napped like cats in our pension. Shutters closed against heat. Dreams mixing with distant street sounds. I woke to church bells. Evening light soft on white walls. My phone showed 17 new messages. All from Victor. Mom, where are you? This has gone too far. I'm flying to Europe to find you. Come home now. This selfishness ends today. You're sick. You need help. I'm getting help for you. I read each message twice. Felt their familiar weight. The assumption that my choices were symptoms. My freedom was disease. I turned off the phone. Completely off. Removed the battery. Freedom required cutting some cords. Even family cords. Especially family cords. That evening, we found a small restaurant in the Albacine. Moroccan food. Tagines and couscous. Mint tea that tasted like gardens. The owner was Moroccan. Maybe 60. He spoke Arabic to his wife. Spanish to customers. French to Elise. English to me. You climb the Alhambra today? He asked. Yes. Good. Many people see. Few people climb. What's the difference? Seeing is easy. Climbing costs something. I thought about that. What had today's climb cost me? My knees. My breath. My old assumptions about what 73 could do. Worth it, I said. He smiled. Everything worth having costs something. After dinner, we walked through the Albacine. Narrow streets like medieval prayers. Houses built into hillsides. Views of the Alhambra floating in darkness. Flamenco music drifted from a cave. Sacromonte. Gypsy quarter. Music older than Spain. We didn't go in. We sat on stone steps. Listened to guitar and voices mixing. Let music wash over us like blessing. This is enough, I thought. This moment. This friendship. This beauty freely chosen. Enough. In my room, I wrote in the leather notebook. Pen moving slowly. Each word chosen carefully. Granada, Day 1. I climbed the Alhambra. My knees screamed. My heart sang. Worth it. Victor wants to rescue me from my own life. But I don't need rescue. I need exactly this. Beauty. Choice. The right to climb mountains at 73. The right to be magnificently, unapologetically alive. Tomorrow, we leave for Cadiz. The sea calls. But tonight, I sleep in the shadow of 800 years of dreams. I sleep like a woman who climbed. The train to Cadiz carried us toward salt air. Spanish countryside flashed past the windows. Brown fields. White villages. Lives I would never know. Elise dozed beside me, her breathing steady, peaceful. I watched the landscape change. Felt something changing in me too. Cadiz hit us like a slap of ocean wind. The oldest city in Western Europe, the guidebook said. 3,000 years of people arriving, leaving, starting over. I understood why they came. The sea called to something ancient. Something that refused to stay landlocked. Our hotel faced the Atlantic. Small, family-run, clean. The proprietor was older than us. Maybe 80, still working every day. He carried our bags without complaint. Climbed 3 flights of stairs. His hands were rope rough. His smile genuine. This is living, I thought. Working until you choose to stop. My room smelled of salt and old wood. The bed was narrow but comfortable. Through the window, waves crashed against ancient stones. Eternal rhythm, older than worry, older than shame. I unpacked the yellow scarf. Hung it where morning light would find it. Tomorrow I would wear it to the sea. That first evening, we walked the old city. Stone streets worn smooth by centuries. Balconies hung with laundry. Children played in small plazas. Old women sat in doorways. Watching, commenting, still part of things. Not pushed aside. Not made invisible. Not told they were too old. I envied them their place in the world. We found a small bar near the cathedral. Local place. No tourists. The bartender nodded at us. Set down wine without asking. Red wine. Strong. Honest. The taste of earth and sun. Around us, people talked loud. Laughed louder. Took up space. No one whispered. No one apologized for existing. That night, I recorded a voice message to Victor. My first communication in days. I spoke slowly, clearly. Let each word carry weight. Victor, I am well. I am safe. I am learning who I am without your permission. I love you, but I will not return to being invisible. When you are ready to see me as a person, not a problem, let me know. Send. The next morning brought church bells and seagulls. I woke to salt wind through open shutters. The sound of waves. Dressed slowly. Put on the yellow scarf. Bright as courage. Downstairs, Elise waited with coffee and croissants. Ready for adventure, she asked. Ready for whatever comes. We walked to Playa de la Caleta. Small beach between ancient forts. Golden sand. Blue water. Fishing boats painted bright colors. Old men sat on benches. Watching waves. Remembering. I sat beside them. Let sun warm my face. This is what peace feels like, I thought. A woman about my age walked past. Swimming costume. Confident stride. She entered the water without hesitation. Dove under. Surfaced laughing. Her gray hair slicked back. Her body unashamed. She swam like she owned the ocean. Like age was irrelevant. I wanted to be her. That afternoon, we explored the old market. Vendors calling out prices. Fish still silver bright. Vegetables dirt fresh. Bread warm from ovens. Life happening. Real life. Messy. Necessary. Beautiful. I bought oranges. Ate one standing in the street. Juice ran down my chin. No one stared. No one judged. No one cared. Evening brought unexpected music. Flamenco from a small club. Not tourist flamenco. The real thing. Raw. Desperate. The dancer was younger than me. Maybe 60. But she moved like fire. Her feet struck the floor like arguments. Each step a statement. I am here. I matter. I refuse to disappear quietly. The guitar wept. The singer called out in Spanish. Words I could not understand. Pain I recognized completely. Around us, people clapped. Stamped feet. Added their voices. Community in sorrow. Beauty in struggle. Art from survival. This is what I came for. When the music ended, applause filled the small room. The dancer looked directly at me. Nodded once. Woman to woman. Still fighting. Still alive. I nodded back. Message received. Message returned. We are not done yet. Walking back through narrow streets, I felt electric. Dangerous. My yellow scarf caught moonlight. My steps had rhythm. Elise laughed at something. I laughed back. When did laughter become rare? When did joy need permission? Not anymore. Not ever again. That night, I put the battery back in my phone. Just to check the time. It buzzed immediately. 17 messages waiting. All from family. All demanding explanations. Returns. Apologies. Sophie wrote differently. She said she was proud of me. She said Victor kept staring at my voice message. Playing it over and over. She said he did not know how to answer. I felt no triumph. No satisfaction. Just space to breathe. Forgiveness was not for them, I realized. It was for my own lungs. For my right to expand. To take up space. To exist without apology. I turned off the phone. Put it in the drawer. Tomorrow would bring whatever it brought. The next morning, Elise dragged me to another bar. Crowded place. Loud music. She said we needed to dance. I said I was too old. She laughed. Called that nonsense. Pulled me to my feet. The music was fast. Spanish guitars. Voices mixing. People sang along. Off-key. Joyful. Alive. We danced badly. Wonderfully. Without caring who watched. My yellow scarf came loose. My hair flew wild. I laughed until my sides hurt. Around us, people clapped. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Made space. Cheered us on. Two old women. Dancing past bedtime. Taking up space. Being magnificently, unapologetically visible. Later, walking back through empty streets, I felt different. Not younger. Better than younger. Free. My knees ached. My back protested. I did not care. This is what joy costs, I thought. Everything hurts after. Worth every ache. Worth every pain. In my room, I looked in the bathroom mirror. Hair wild from dancing. Lipstick smeared. Yellow silk askew. I looked like a woman who lived. Who chose. Who danced. I looked like someone I had forgotten I could be. Someone I was remembering how to be. That night, I wrote in the leather notebook. Cadiz, Day 2. I danced tonight. Badly. Beautifully. I am learning that shame is optional. That age does not disqualify joy. That visibility is a choice I make every morning. Tonight I choose to be seen. Tomorrow I choose again. The sea sang outside my window. Ancient rhythm. Eternal permission. I fell asleep to waves against stone. Salt air through shutters. Tomorrow we would leave for home. But I would not return unchanged. I would not return invisible. I would not return small. I would return dancing. The plane lifted off from Madrid at dawn. Europe fell away beneath white clouds. Became memory. Became proof. I had done this. Traveled alone. Lived alone. Chosen alone. The yellow scarf lay folded in my carry-on. Bright as courage. Ready for Chicago. Ready for whatever came next. The flight attendant smiled at me. Asked if I was traveling home. Home, I said, but not the same home I left. She looked confused. I did not explain. Some things could not be explained. Only lived. Only proven. Only carried forward like fire. I was carrying fire now. O'Hare Airport smelled like America. Coffee. Exhaust. Hurry. People rushed past with rolling suitcases. Talking into phones. I moved slowly. Deliberately. No one was waiting for me. No one knew when I would arrive. I had not told them. This return was mine alone. The taxi driver asked about my trip. I told him it changed everything. He glanced in the rearview mirror. Saw something different. You look like you had adventures, he said. I had life, I told him. Pure life. He nodded. Sometimes that is the same thing. My apartment building looked smaller. Grayer. More tired. 3 weeks away and it seemed like a different world. Mrs. Delgado waved from her window. I waved back. She had kept my ferns alive. Kept my secret safe. The first person in years to ask nothing of me. Inside, everything was exactly as I left it. Clean. Quiet. Waiting. But I was not the same woman who had packed that small suitcase. I opened windows. Let October air sweep through rooms. The apartment needed breathing. So did I. We both needed less careful living. I unpacked slowly. Each item a memory. A proof of courage. The leather notebook from Florence. The yellow scarf from Seville. A small stone from the beach at Cadiz. Smooth. Warm. Patient. These were my treasures now. Evidence of choosing. Evidence of a woman who still dreamed. That evening, Sophie knocked on my door. I opened it to find her crying. Not sad crying. Proud crying. She hugged me hard. Held on like I might disappear again. I felt her shake against my shoulder. Felt her relief. At least one of them had missed me for the right reasons. She pulled back. Studied my face. Saw something new there. You look different, Grandma. Older but younger somehow. I feel different, I told her. I feel like myself. She smiled through tears. Dad does not know what to do with that. Good. Maybe he will learn to see me instead of managing me. Sophie handed me her notebook. The one she carried everywhere. Inside, her careful handwriting filled pages. Lists. Thoughts. Plans. Things I refused to inherit: silence, shame, smallness. My eyes blurred reading those words. My granddaughter understood. She had learned from watching me choose. That night, I called Victor. His voice was tight, controlled, angry. He started talking immediately. Where had I been? Why had I disappeared? How worried they were. How selfish I had been. I listened without defending. Let his words wash over me. Then I spoke quietly, calmly, with certainty. I went to Europe. I traveled with a friend. I remembered who I am. His silence stretched long. Then questions came rapid fire. Who was this friend? Where did I get money? Why did I not call? I answered what mattered, ignored what did not. Some explanations are owed. Some are gifts. This was neither. The next morning, Victor came with Clara. Both of them careful, formal. They sat on my sofa like visitors. Like we had never been family. Clara spoke first. Her lawyer voice. Professional. Distant. Marianne, we need to discuss what happened. Your behavior was concerning. My behavior, I repeated. You mean my choosing. Victor leaned forward. Hands clasped tight. Voice strained. Mom, you disappeared. You cancelled our vacation. You spent our money. I stopped him there. Quietly. Firmly. Without anger. My money, Victor. My pension. My account. My choice. His face went red. Clara touched his arm. Warning. Caution. This conversation was not going as planned. I offered tea. Made it slowly while they watched. Earl Grey. 2 sugars. The way Robert taught me. The ritual calmed something in me. Reminded me who I was. Not their problem to solve. Their mother to manage. Just a woman making tea in her own kitchen. We sat at my small table. The one Robert built himself. Steam rose from our cups. Silence settled between us. Finally, Victor spoke. His voice smaller. Less certain. We do not know how to do this, Mom. We do not know how to start. You already have, I told him. By sitting here. By asking. Clara surprised me then. Set down her cup. Looked directly at me. I owe you an apology, she said. We treated you like a convenience. Like someone whose feelings did not matter. Like you were already gone. Her honesty hit harder than Victor's anger. Truth often did. Thank you, I said. That matters. Before they left, I went to my bedroom drawer. Retrieved the cancelled plane tickets. I had kept them all these weeks. Evidence of my invisibility. Proof of my choice to change. I handed them to Victor. 4 names. None of them mine. So you remember, I said. So you understand what invisible feels like. He nodded slowly. Put the tickets in his pocket. His eyes were wet when he looked up. That evening, I walked through my neighborhood. Familiar streets. Known corners. But I moved differently now. Took up more space. Walked taller. The yellow scarf bright around my neck. Visible. Unashamed. People noticed. Some smiled. Some stared. I did not care. I was done with invisible. At home, I opened the leather notebook. Wrote my final entry. Chicago, Day 1. Home looks the same. I am entirely changed. They are learning to see me. I am learning to be seen. This is harder than traveling alone. And more necessary. The real journey starts now. I closed the notebook. Put it on the shelf beside Robert's picture. He smiled at me from behind glass. The same proud smile. The one he wore when I took risks. When I chose courage. I think you would be proud, I whispered. I think you would understand. Sometimes coming home means leaving everything behind. That night, I slept deeply. No dreams. No fears. No regrets. Just rest earned by living. By choosing. By refusing to disappear. Tomorrow would bring more conversations. More learning. More chances to practice being fully, completely myself. But tonight was enough. I was enough. Finally, completely enough. Outside, Chicago hummed its familiar song. Inside, I hummed along. Different harmony now. Stronger. Braver. True. The woman who left 3 weeks ago was gone. The woman who returned was just beginning. And she was never going back to small again.